Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Early Career Academic. On this channel I explore how I use the Passion Planner to set personal and professional goals. In this video I'm going to be showing you how I use one of the back pages in the Passion Planner to brainstorm ways to kind of manifest the word of the year that I chose for 2024. Before I get started, I am a Passion Planner ambassador. That means there's an affiliate link in the description of this video, which I would love for you to use if you purchase any Passion Planner products, and a discount code as well that gives you 10% off of Passion Planner products. As I mentioned in a recent video, there might be slight delay because they're changing the fulfillment centers for their ordering system. So if you try to purchase Passion Planner products and you can't right now, don't worry, that's going to be a brief duration. They already hired a new company to do their fulfillment, so just be aware that that might be the case if you look into their goodies. Okay, so let's get started. This is a medium Passion Planner in the marble cover. It's a stiff cover, so just as a heads up. And this is also an undated planner, so all the months are in the front, and then in the back there are back pages. Well, there's the weeks in the middle, and then there's the back pages. Now, I went ahead and used my tabs to demarcate like different sections of the back of the planner. This is my like goals section. So I have my 24 for 2024 list here, and I have my vision board that I used like really antiquated magazines to create, but I actually like the way that it turned out. So this is my vision board for this year, and then my big dreams page where I write about like these are work related big dreams, and today we're going to focus on the word of the year page here. That and I'm going to decorate this page with a few stickers from these sheets here. These are from a recollection sticker book, and I forgot that I had them, honestly, but I am trying to use my stash this year. So I was looking excuse me, looking through, and I just really love the colors in here, so I'm going to use a couple of these once I have laid out my word. So let me grab my pen real quick. I'm going to use this color. This is the Tombow 817, so I'm going to go ahead and use that now. I did like struggle a little picking this word. Like it didn't come to me as quickly as the words I've used in the past. And I've only done this word of the year thing like 2 years, I want to say. The first year was brave because I was going through miscarriage and adoption paperwork and just a lot. And then the next word I chose was enjoy. That was last year's word. Not sure how much that panned out. I think I did the best I could under the circumstances. Like that's the goal, right? I brainstormed ways that I could enjoy my situation, the situation I really wanted, balancing work with my daughter. And I did the best I could considering how negative the work experience turned out to be. So I'm giving myself credit for that, even though it turned out very differently than I initially thought when I set the word at the beginning of the year. So this is the word of the year for 2024, and that is thrive. Okay, not the best lettering of all time, but you know, it is what it is. Make this circle a little circlier. So yes, I chose the word thrive after a lot of kind of brainstorming and like thinking and rethinking, because ultimately I have a couple of other words I was considering. I used this notepad to kind of figure it out, but I was like, I want to do creative things this year. I want to, I was fairly certain that I was going to be kind of in the same role of my current job. So I was trying to like bring some of that bloom where you're planted energy to it, but I didn't like love the word bloom for some reason. So I was trying to do that. And I think because so much of postpartum feels like survival, I was worried that I would get trapped in a survival mindset. So I was like, I don't just want to survive. I want to thrive. I want to find ways to do that. And thriving feels a little more manageable than enjoy did. because, you know, I don't know what's facing me with like the 2 kids and my current job and all of that. So I just like want to find ways to feel like I'm thriving and not just surviving, if that makes sense. So that's the word that I picked for 2024. I might come in with a different color up here to write like word of the year, but I definitely want to do what I did last year, which is to like brainstorm with you guys a few ways that I could make this happen because I think it's not enough for you to pick a word. You need to like think about how you're planning on manifesting that word in the new year. So I am going to do just a quick like kind of mind map, if you will, and then come in with some stickers and stuff. So a couple of things like ways that I can thrive. I think one of the things that will help me thrive in the postpartum period especially is to really allow myself to heal physically from the C-section that I'm going to have. But I think just in general, when you're in postpartum mode, you have a roller coaster of emotions. You know, you don't know what kind of baby you're going to get. You don't know what kind of challenges you're going to face in that period. And with the 2 under 2, it's going to be even more challenging, I think, than last time. So I think I need to really let myself do a lot of healing, which is hard for me because I'm just used to go, go, go. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? But I think healing will help me thrive. Having like a really strong period of healing will do that, I think. And then I'm actually stealing some of the words that I used to arrive at the word of the year a little bit. And that is, one of these is create new things. So one of the words I was considering was create. And because I do want to do that kind of stuff, like I am creating my son literally right now, but also a new life with 2 under 2. You know, I want to find ways to create memories for my daughter, especially. I want to create like an atmosphere of love and home. I want to create joy. You know, I want to bake things, and I want to, you know, maintain and establish connections with friends and colleagues and family. I want to like find a way to get back to the things I like about my job and the creative parts of my job that have been like left by the wayside because of current events. So I think finding ways to be creative is like some way in which I can feel like thriving and not just surviving if I'm being creative. And this channel is one way I do that. So making time for this, I think would be helpful in that regard. Creative outlets, right? Create new things, enjoying that process of creativity. Other things that will help me thrive. I think ultimately changing what I can about my work. So this is a tough one, but I think I am anticipating some changes. Either, you know, in the short term, changes to the communication strategies that I employ, changes to managing others' expectations, you know, in that sense, and then ultimately possibly some really big changes about my role on this team. So, you know, I don't want to be stagnant. I think this will help me with thriving if I keep it in mind that I can make changes to make this a more manageable situation for myself. And at the very least, a more manageable situation, at the most, a situation that actually brings me joy. So changing things about my work, I think, will help me thrive in that sense. So I think healing, creating new things, definitely what will help me feel like thriving and not just surviving, is make plans with friends. I think, postpartum can be a really hard time, and you do feel like hermiting a little bit, because you feel like a total hot mess. You're leaking milk everywhere. You're sleep deprived. The first month is really like where I found, what I found to be the most like that, like the hot mess that you feel. But, beyond that, it's nice to actually make time to go like see your friends, like coffee dates, like things that are easy, coffee dates, maybe an occasional night out. You know, it's important to have these social connections. A lot of my friends are childless by choice. And so, but they're very understanding when it comes to like the limitations that you have when you have children. So I think they appreciate the effort I make to stay in touch with them. I know I appreciate their company, especially when you feel like all you are is a mom. It can be really hard to like lose yourself into that identity completely. So making time with friends is definitely a priority. And then one thing that'll like make me feel very much like thriving is towards the end of the year is a getaway with my husband. Once we feel a little more comfortable leaving our new son with one or both of our parents, I think making time for us is going to be even harder with the two kids, but definitely more necessary. So I think having that will feel very, very thrivey, if you will. I think for me, what will make me feel like I'm thriving and not just surviving is making some time, like a minimal amount of time, for some professional development. That always feels, because it's not like part of my paid job, it always feels luxurious when I make time for professional development. But I think especially with a lot going on this coming year, that this will be a great way for me to feel like thriving. I love learning new things. I wouldn't be an academic if I didn't. And so making time for that, I think, would make me feel like I'm not just surviving. Thriving. I think in terms of teaching, that's the thing I'm actually probably most worried about feeling like in survival mode. At least I won't be pregnant this time, which I feel like feeling physically like down in the dumps, I think is harder than juggling kids and work by themselves. So that's like the tough part, is like I was only able to do so much between the effects of pregnancy and being sick with my daughter's daycare germs and not being able to really treat most of those symptoms because I'm pregnant. So in teaching, I think really what I want to be present for my students, as present as I can be. And I know I'm putting a lot on my plate, but I think it makes me feel more like thriving if I can set up systems and time and so on to really feel like I'm there for them and that I'm paying attention. Not that I wouldn't be paying attention to some degree, but just more than seems feasible, especially with everything I'm juggling. So I think that's another way. I'm just thinking real quick if I can think of other things that will help me feel like thriving. Definitely. So I think this goes along with create new things. I'm going to just put a slash and put hobbies. This is bigger than hobbies, but it definitely involves hobbies, and just making time for them, I think, would feel like thriving, and not just surviving, which is, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong, by the way, with just surviving. Obviously, I'd rather you survive than not survive. If those are your choices, please pick survive. But for me, like, I will feel very depressed if all I'm doing is surviving. Like, I just know myself, and I will feel very incomplete and very non-functional and very just limited if I don't feel like I am thriving. So that's why we're doing this exercise, is so that I can feel a little bit more like thriving. So create new things, create and try new things, try new things. I like that as well. I want to put, so healing, this is postpartum healing is mainly what I'm thinking about here. I think also I'm going to put self-care, which sounds like a cop-out a little bit, but it encompasses a lot of things that are on my mind. So I'm not the best at prioritizing self-care, whether it's exercising or getting my hair cut or whatever. And I think, though, that feeling like I have time to do these things, even like basic stuff, you know, doctor appointments and so on and so forth, I think will make me feel like thriving instead of surviving. So, you know, if I can find ways to make that happen, I'm going to. And then I think definitely the one last thing that I would put on here is coming up with a new writing project. Right now, I'm drawing from an empty well. I just have no ideas. No ideas, no motivation to produce ideas, a very abstract sense of wanting this to happen, but just no brain power to devote to it whatsoever. So it's definitely something that would make me feel good if I came up with a new writing project. So those are the things that I'm thinking about for thriving. Let me know in the comments if you have anything you would add to this list. But for now, I think that's sufficient. And my plan is to check in with these pages on a fairly regular basis as I'm planning out like how to spend my time in the various, you know, weeks and months of this year, so that I can kind of like check back in with it and see, like, am I doing what I suggested to myself that I should do to feel like I am thriving and not just surviving. Manifesting the word. I might even put this word up like in my office, in my home office, to like remind myself about it and to remind myself to check in with this mind map as well. But I think that actually might, you know, help me keep it in mind. Can't remember if I told you guys this already, but good news is that we got my son into the same daycare as my daughter. We weren't sure if there would be room, but there will be. So I'm feeling really good about that. Very happy that I don't have to move them from that daycare, because my daughter really loves the owners of the daycare. She loves the friends, you know, as far as I can tell at this age, that she's made there. So just feeling really excited about that. A little nervous because we'll be putting my son in to daycare earlier than we did my daughter. But that can't be helped. Especially since I'm still on the admin team and we start back a month earlier than everyone else. So it is what it is. And just also the timing of his birth, you know, it is what it is. But the good news is that, like, while I do anticipate, you know, there being like a certain amount of issues we have with him being in daycare and germs and all that, with my daughter, at least, it was kind of nice that we didn't really have too many plagues brought home until she could crawl. Once she could crawl and like touch other children, then that's where it all went downhill. So on the upside is that he'll be so young when he goes in there, that he won't be crawling yet. So in theory, that would make it slightly more likely that, you know, we'll get some mileage out of daycare before he's back home with me. I'm just gonna put up here, word of the year. But also, you know, I have a toddler. I am very cognizant of the fact that she will be touching him, and that will probably just blow up in my face. Okay, thank you so much for watching this word of the year video. I hope it was somewhat interesting. I'm interested to know if you have a word of the year, and if so, do you brainstorm ways to manifest it into your life like this? Let me know in the comments what you think about my word, and if you would add anything to this list if it was your word. So thanks so much for watching, and take care. Bye.